Hello, TCG and Lorcana enthusiasts, and welcome to part 3 of our mini-series where we are looking at each color from Rise of the Floodborn, the second set for Disney's Lorcana. So anyways, we've already looked over Sapphire, which is a lot of heal cards, a lot of really good just mid-range stuff that we've seen already for Sapphire. Amethyst has, of course, the bounce engine now, of course, using Merlin and Madam Him and some really good cards to facilitate that. And today we're looking at Emerald, probably one of the stronger colors. That and Sapphire. I think these two colors really got the most potent cards from this set. While bounce is really, really fun and really cool, Emerald got a lot of annoying cards, like hand control. I've already played a hand control deck using the new Emerald cards. Find that video, of course, in the top right of YouTube. I'll put a link there for you all so you can go check it out. But yes, Emerald got a lot of hand control, but that's not all it got. There are other strategies within the Emerald engine, but a lot of it is more or less just controlling your opponent's hand now, which of course now allows you to do a more aggressive like Emerald Steel deck that I did where it was hand control, or now you can do a mid-range hand control deck using old cards like You Have Forgotten Me from Amber and Sinister Chill, I believe it is. Let me go down to it. It's the Emerald card here. Apologies, where is it? Sudden Chill. Yeah, using Sudden Chill to also just rip your opponent's hand away. And of course, you have cards like Flynn Rider still that rips cards out of your opponent's hand. So there is a lot of support for just controlling hands. And now, yes, hand control is very much a staple in many decks throughout TCGs, much like Mill is a staple deck throughout TCGs. And I think the Green Engine gives hand control and Mill a whole new way to play. So let's look over each card and I'll give you my thoughts. We have a generic 4-cost Arthur here. Very nice. 4/3, quest for 2. We have a new beast here. Whenever an opposing character is damaged, you may ready this character. This is really, really nice, especially for steel decks. If you wanted to play not a hand control steel deck, so steel emerald hand control, if you just wanted to go like aggro steel control, so basically just using as much steel pain as you can put on the board, this is not a bad beast. Because it's a 6-cost with quest for 2, anytime an opposing character is just hurt, you can just ready this character. This is not a once per turn or anything like that. It just damage something, stand up. Damage something, stand up. Damage something, stand up. And by the way, it doesn't have the restriction we've seen other cards where like other cards have the ability to stand up, but they can't quest. This beast doesn't care about that. He just cares about, did you something get damaged? Congratulations, I'm going to stand up and attack it. Stand up and attack. Stand up and quest. Stand up and quest. Stand up and quest. Stand up and quest. I don't know if he has a price tag of $16 on him, but, you know, he's very, very strong. If you're going to play an aggro steel emerald deck, where you just use the steel engine to control boards and just deal damage everywhere, this is not a bad card. This is a really, really good card for it because you can constantly quest with him. There is no limit to how many times you can quest with this beast. And he doesn't have the restrictions, so very, very good card. Anyways, we have Belle here. While your opponent has no cards in their hand, this character gets +2 lore. So that's really nice, especially if you're going to play a hand control deck. This is not a bad card to have in there, but I think, in my opinion, this is mid-range hand control can play this a little easier than aggro hand control, because mid-range has the ability to go into the Amber engine, which has You Have Forgotten Me, which pitch 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. So this is that's a little easier to get to this threshold to get a +2 and questing for 3 at a on a 3-bot. Now this Belle, whoo, power creep, everyone. This set really does have a lot of power creep in it. I'm not sure what Ravensburger thought when they decided that we needed an entire set with a lot of power creep cards. It makes me kind of hesitant about future sets if every set's going to try to power creep the previous set. I mean, I know power creep is common in all card games, but I wouldn't think we'd go this fast into power creep. But anyways, this Belle here, whenever this character is challenged, the challenging player just discards their entire hand. So in essence, she quests for 3. She's a 3/3 body. So if you're not playing a deck like Sapphire, Steel, or Ruby that have ways to just remove this cleanly off the board, you're going to struggle with this because you're never going to want to attack this bell because she's always going to threaten to just remove your hand. And she has to be challenged. So you can't just swing the bell in. Much like all Emerald cards have to be challenged to trigger their effects. Cheshire Cat, Cusco, they have to actually be challenged. You can't swing them in and challenge them on yourself. Flynn Rider. So in essence, your opponent has to deal with this card. And no opponent's going to want to deal with this. Like I said, Ruby, Sapphire, and Steel have ways to deal with this using Steel's ability to put damage everywhere. Sapphire has all the cards that could spin into your Inkwell. And then, of course, Ruby just has a couple of board wipes, being Dragon's Fire and Be Prepared. So, nonetheless, very, very strong bell card. Very strong indeed. It basically, in essence, it's not a card your opponent wants to attack anytime soon. We got Bucky. He's got Ward. We've seen Ward throughout all of Emerald. Whenever you play a Floodborn character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So it's not too bad for a hand control card. We're seeing Emerald is really playing into this hand control engine. It's very interesting. But anyways, in essence, we're seeing a lot of cards that are coming out of here that are starting to use like Floodborn, Hero, and Princess. And that's really, really cool. They're evolving on these title things that we see up here. We haven't seen like Storyborn or Ally get like support or anything like that. But nonetheless, we're seeing these cards that from each color that if you play something with the Floodborn in it, do something. I think we saw draw a card, do something. I think we saw heal. I think we get to do something here. I know Sapphire has draw and Ruby has remove lore. So nonetheless, neat card indeed. But you need to play a lot of Floodborn characters to really utilize this card. If you're just putting this in here, make sure you play a lot of characters who have the Floodborn type on them. Funny enough, they actually have this black border here, so anyone with this black underline border is really nice there, just so you know who you can play. So if you're gonna play Bucky here, squeaking, make sure, of course, you play a good chunk worth of Floodborn to really utilize this effect. Otherwise, it's pretty pointless. We have a generic Cheshire Cat here, another Cheshire Cat. I think the older Cheshire Cat's still the best Cheshire Cat because he still quests for 2 and he's a nuisance because if your opponent quests and challenges him and banishes him, he just gets rid of whatever banished him. So I think that's a little better. Now, this Cheshire Cat, he has evasive, he can shift for 5, and oh, by the way, do you like just getting rid of your opponent's things off the board? Do you like getting rid of that massive monster over there? Just tap this man and he's gonna make them go away. Yeah, very, very good effect. And like I said, if you're gonna play an aggressive steel engine, having the beast and having him is very, very strong. Because the Cheshire Cat, say for instance, you can only do like 8 damage to something that's very annoying on your opponent's side of the board, and then you can go Cheshire Cat tap himself, and he just deletes that immediately off the board. Like, goodbye, get rid of it. Be gone, monster. So, very, very good card effect. Very good card effect. Daisy Duck, do you like just questing for 2 and then just having your opponent discard a card? Great! Just very strong. Very strong indeed. We got a Donald Duck here. He shifts for 3. Most decks I've seen that playing the Emerald Engine do not play the Donald Duck over here or any other Donald Ducks to play this card. If you're playing like Ruby, because I think Donald Duck's only in Ruby, but he's also in Steel now too. But nonetheless, most people just play him for his 4 cost. But anyways, allow me. At the start of your turn, each player may draw a card. So your opponent may draw and you may draw, which of course you're going to do. You're going to draw a card, your opponent's going to draw a card, but then you get to draw the card for your turn as well. So in essence, you're drawing 2 cards to your opponent drawing 1 card. Now, of course, that's a little detrimental, you might think. Well, my opponent gets to draw a card on not their turn, and then on their turn, they'll be able to draw their card for their turn and have 1 more card in the hand. But if you're playing a hand control where you're constantly looping your opponent's hand away, like with Daisy Duck, with Bucky, with threatening the bell, with threatening, of course, Flynn Rider, using maybe You Have Forgotten Me. In essence, this card's not terrible. and not really beneficial for your opponent. Because if your opponent's drawing down one card and that's all they got in their hand, and you have a Daisy Duck up, or anything that can remove it, you go Daisy Duck, Quest, your opponent just discards that card. That means all they get to draw for the turn is the card they get to draw. So in essence, you're constantly keeping them to draw in like one card a turn where you get to draw two. Now, if you stack these up, you can almost draw multiple cards a turn. And that's really, really strong. Again, we don't have a lot of draw engines in this deck that allow you just to draw a card, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card. Typically, originally Amber only really had a good draw engine, and so does Amethyst with Rapunzel for Amber and Maleficent and Friends being the only other ways also you can draw cards. So in essence, this is really, really nice that we have more ways now to draw cards. Sapphire has a really good way to draw cards as well. So again, hand advantage is really, really strong. And I think you can put this in the mill deck as well, because having your opponent decide to select to draw means you mill them out just one more card quicker. But yes, stacking the couple of these up means that if you have two of these out, you're drawing 3 cards at the start of your turn. That's really, really good. Just refill that hand. Anyways, we have another Donald Duck here. Whenever you play an action, this character gets +2 for the turn. Not bad. I haven't seen many decks playing this, but you could play it. Just shift over for this Donald Duck. But in my opinion, just play the 4 cost for this Donald Duck. It's one cheaper to shift, but again, if you're going to have this out on, if you're going to have turn 4, and you already played that in turn 3, why are you shifting for 1 less when you could just play this out that turn? Now, I will say I don't really quest much with this Donald Duck when I play it. I only really start questing when I know I'm getting close to winning. Most of the time, it's just there to draw. Now, I don't think my opponent's going to deal with it because they like drawing cards too, but you never know. We have a new Dr. Facilier. He has Evasive. And whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character can't quest for the turn. So in essence, we're seeing more of that like John Silver, where John Silver turns something reckless. He does, I think he does Jasper's effect. Yes, he does Jasper's effect on quests where our opponent can't quest. So very nice. I'm not mentioning since he's evasive, your opponent actually can't target him. Unlike Jasper and John Silver, that can be targeted and removed off the field, Dr. Facilier can only be targeted and attacked with challenges by other evasive characters. So if you're going to play an evasive deck, this is not a bad character to play. I wish he had a little more power or defense for a 7 cost than what he has, but still, not actually a bad effect on an evasive body. Anyways, we have Enchantress. While being challenged, this character gets a +2 power. Mainly, she's basically like all our reckless guys that Ruby has, that all kind of just are there to buff bodies. In essence, she just can knock out anything with 3 will on it when being challenged. For a 1 will body that quests for 2 on a 2-drop, that's not actually too bad, because it does mean that if your opponent swings something with 3 will on it, it will be removed. We have a generic Flynn Rider here. He's just here to be another name for Flynn Rider to shift into this really good Flynn Rider. He has evasive. He shifts for 2, which is really strong. And but the one downside is he does lose 1 lore for every card in your opponent's hand. But if you're playing hand control, whether it be mid-range hand control or aggro hand control with the Steel Emerald engine, or heck, any real hand control, any way to really control your opponent's hand, this is very, very strong because, again, he has evasive. The only cards that can really target him and challenges are evasive guys. Or, of course, unless your opponent's playing a deck that can remove him perfectly fine, then that's fine as well. But yeah, he quests for 4. He's really, really good. Really, really good. He's almost like if you're ever playing like Flynn Riders, he's almost like a mandatory now in Emerald decks, just be how good he is. I don't think every deck needs him mandatory, but if you're playing like any form of hand control, he's mandatory because he automatically will be always getting that 4 lore. Now mentioning that, he's just a shift cost 2. So in essence, if you say you quest with this Flynn Rider for 1, and then you immediately shift into this Flynn Rider, you're protecting this Flynn Rider. You already have now a guy that can quest for 4, and now your opponent has to be more or less very conscientious about their hand until they can try to find a way to remove him. So it does put in some interesting methods of dealing with him. But anyways, we have a Gaston here, while one or more opponents, because now if you're noticing a lot of cards say multiple opponents discard, because you can actually play this like a commander format where you have multiple people around you. I think like it's a pot of 4. So it does the commander format where you can have a pot of 4 people and then everyone gets affected by the card. It's still a neat idea. He gets a +3. Not bad. Again, he requires that no cards are in your opponent's hand. There are so much better cards to play over him. He's just there to be a beat stick. I would prefer to play more or less more powerhouse emerald cards than him. Anyways, we got Little John. He's a 6/6 that quests for 2. That's on a 6 cost. Not bad. We got Lucifer here. I didn't realize the cat's name from Sleeping Beauty was Lucifer. Maybe I heard it before, but I just didn't recall it. It's the devil. But anyways, whenever you play this character, chosen opponent choose and discards 2 cards or 1 action card. So in essence, it's a really neat concept because they can either choose to discard any action card, which could be a song, which could be one of their kill spell action cards or anything like that, or they have to discard 2 cards. Again, not a bad card for a lot of hand control decks. Like I said, hand control really has a lot of cards that go around it. Really, really a lot of cards. But anyways, we have Pain and Panic from Hercules. So while this character has 5 or more power on him, he gets 2 lore. So in essence, what you want to do is you want to buff him up. But whenever you play this character, chosen character gets +2 this turn. If the chosen character is named Panic, you get +4 instead. So this is how the combo works. You play Pain and then you play Panic. Panic will buff Pain. Pain now gets his 2 extra. So now he's questing for 3 and Pain quests for 2. Really, really good combo there, just to constantly have those 2 characters. I think you could even play the bounce package in here to constantly bounce them back and then play and play, just so you constantly keep Pain getting that 3 lore turn, which is very cool. We got Pete. I think this is the first Pete we're seeing in the game. He's got Ward. Take that. Whenever you play an action, he gets a +2, so that's pretty neat. And while this character has 7 or more power on him, he gets +2 lore. So in essence, we're kind of seeing, I think, as we head down here to other cards, where we're seeing a lot of cards that want you to buff their power up. You want to be able to get them to high amounts of power so they can get extra lore attached to them, which is really, really neat. But the problem is a lot of that just comes into just that 1 turn. But I can really see if you wanted to play these decks that buff by power and then give their guys more lore, playing it in the Sapphire engine, because the Sapphire engine has a lot of good cards for support. There's the item, I forget the item from Sapphire that can turn one of your guys into a supporter, and then when that person quests, you could just use the supporter. So then you could just buff up the Pete. So nonetheless, really cool. Well, the hand control cards don't stop here, folks. We got Prince John. He's got Ward. I can tell you, if you're going to play hand control, whether it be mid-range, aggro, or whatever hand control it is, do not quest with this man. Just because he has Ward doesn't mean he's strong. He is a 1/2. He's a wimp. But whenever an opponent discards 1 or more cards, you may draw a card for each card discarded. Okay, so that wording's a little interesting here, folks. It doesn't mean if your opponent discards 3 cards, you draw 3 cards. It doesn't mean if you use a whole new world and your opponent discards 5 cards, and then you get to draw 5 cards with your whole new world draw. No, you get to draw a singular extra card. So whenever an opponent discards at least one card or 1 or more cards, no matter how many cards that was, you just get to draw 1. But still, very strong, because it automatically just begins this engine of drawing cards as you rip your opponent's hand to bits and pieces. Mandatory card for all hand control decks. Very good. Only quest with him once you know you're going to win. Anyways, Queen of Hearts. When you play this character, deal 1 damage to chosen damaged opposing character. It's okay. It really is. You'd have to play in the Steel engine to really get the effect to really go off, because Steel has the best abilities to deal damage, but it's okay. Not great by any means. Ratigan, yes. Like I said, the Great Mouth Detective did get a bunch of cards here, as we saw with Sapphire giving us the it's either Amber. Yeah, it was Amber giving us the ability to kill characters in a song that have 5 or more power on them. So really cool. So anyways, he's just an evasive body here. So another evasive body. So evasive decks, rejoice. You have more bodies now to use. We got Ray. He's just invasive on a 5 cost that quests for 3, which is really, really good. Now the Queen. Now this is very, very interesting. Burn decks are really good in a lot of TCGs, but the concept of burn is you burn your opponent out their life points or burn them through everything that they can never play the game or anything like that. So the queen is you tap her, choose and discard a character card. Gain lore equal to the discarded character's lore count. So in essence, she is a self-burn deck. You tap her and then you just basically pitch her own guy out of your hand, and in essence, you constantly are gaining lore that way. So it's very interesting. She doesn't quest for herself. She's only here to constantly use that ability to gain lore. I could definitely see her not questing at all or using this ability to like your late game when you're making that final push to win, and then just discard someone with a high amount of lore, like Ray for 3 lore, someone with a lot of 2 lore, and we're seeing a lot of 2 lore guys. We're seeing a lot of characters with high amount of lore. For instance, Flynn Rider is 4. He only loses the lore when he's on the field. So in essence, you'd gain 4 lore if you were to just tap her and pitch a guy. So it's very interesting that this is a self-burn deck. Phontic has a deck list built up. I might have to try out his deck or build my own around the queen. But very interesting, we're getting like a self-burn deck. I don't know if I'd really call it burn, but you know, it's very neat nonetheless. If there more cards could release like this, we could have a very interesting deck strategy. Tiana, 5 costs that quest for 3 on a 5/3 body. Again, very good to pitch off that. Anyways, the last character we have here is Virana. She quests for 2 and a 5 body, 5/5, not bad. Just a couple of vanillas to end it. Anyways, let's get into the only song. Yeah, the only song of Emerald. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Chosen character that costs 3 or more can sing it for free. Return chosen character of yours to your hand to play another character with the same cost or less for free. So, if you're going to play an Amethyst Emerald bounce deck, this is a must-have in that deck. Because what you can do is you can bounce the Merlin Goat back to your hand, and then you can play the Merlin Goat again, because it doesn't say that you have to play a character different than the character you played. You just have to play with the same cost or less for free. So bounce Merlin Goat, play Merlin Goat, gain 2 lore. Oh, do you have Arthur already on the board? Quest with Arthur, bounce the Merlin Goat, gain another lore, gain 2 lore off Arthur. Woohoo! Yes, just very good card. If it had the restriction you have to play a card with a different name than the one you bounced, I think that would be pretty good. But just the ability to like bounce Merlin Goat, play Merlin Goat, because Merlin Goat is oh, by the way, the same cost as I just bounced. Doesn't say I can't play the same character. And I mean, my hand knowledge is what happens if I have another Merlin Goat. And again, as long as you have to have someone else in your hand possibly to play for free, so just be mindful that you probably would still need to have at least a character. But again, Lorcana, much like Digimon is, you do as much of the effect as possible. Magic Gathering as well. We have the Bounce. I really like we're getting all these Winnie the Pooh cards, but there's no really good like Winnie the Pooh like tribal deck just yet. We don't have enough cards, but I could see maybe a couple sets down the line we get some more Winnie the Pooh. Where's my Kanga at? Where's my Kanga card? We don't have Eeyore. Where's my Eeyore card? All right, well, anyways, return chosen character yours to your hand, return another chosen character to their player's hand. In essence, again, it's very good if you're going to play like an Emerald Bounce deck. Heck, this is really good for Steel as well, because what you can do is you can play this card for 2, and say you have a big Tinkerbell with like 1 little health left, you can bounce the big Tinkerbell back to your hand, and that will bounce, like if you shifted over Little Tinkerbell, bounce back Little Tinkerbell as well. And then you just bounce any chosen character of your opponents back to their hand. In essence, you already have your Tinkerbell back in your hand again, and then you could play Little Tinkerbell again, and then just next turn, shift immediately into Big Tinkerbell and deal a whole nother set of damage again, and then use Big Tinkerbell to knock something out on the board. Very, very good card. I could see a lot of strategies trying to use Bounce to just manipulate the board state. Again, if you're going to play like an Amethyst Emerald Bounce deck where you lose like Merlin Goats and stuff like that, this is good as well. Very good as well. We have Hypnotize. Each opponent chooses and discards a card, and you draw a card. I didn't play this in my Steel Emerald deck, but if you're going to play mid-range, I would highly recommend playing this in a mid-range. Very good card. Improvise. A chosen character gets a +1 power, and then you get to draw a card. Very nice, nonetheless. I don't know how good it is, but still. For buffing up like Pete's and Pain and a couple other cards, I think that are around there that I think it's in the Sapphire engine that get the ability, if they hit a certain point within their power, they can get more lore. But nonetheless, still, a draw a card is not a bad thing. Pack Tactics. Gain 1 lore for each damaged character opponents have in play. Now that's an interesting card. Again, if you're playing an aggro Steel Emerald deck where you're just putting damage everywhere, you're not killing anything, you're just putting a little damage here and there. This is very good because you can just basically damage a whole bunch of stuff, play this, and gain a whole bunch of lore. Say if your opponent has 4 guys damaged, you play this, you just gain 4 lore, and then you could just wipe the field away with what your opponent has left. So nonetheless, really cool. Ring the Bell, banish chosen damaged character. Again, really nice. Again, does the exact same thing the Cheshire Cat does, but the Cheshire Cat taps itself. This is on a 3-cost buy. So again, we're seeing kind of this cards that, even though our opponent has guys that have big willed booties, as long as we can put a damage on them, we can play 2 cards that can just erase them right off the battlefield, and we don't have to do anything about it. Again, I think this and the Cheshire Cat are more useful to a lot of Steel decks, just because Steel has so many ways to damage characters. But anyways, we have Radigan's Marvelous Trap. Banishes item, each opponent loses 2 lore. So it's not bad, but if you know I would say it's like a side deck card, because if you know your opponent has too much of an aggressive deck, this is not a bad thing to put down and just constantly hold there until you know you need to use it to purge it so you can keep your opponent off winning the game. But yeah, not bad. Overall, Emerald's got a lot of good stuff. You have a variety of hand control cards. You have a variety of cards that are just so good for Steel engines. And that's really about it. It's really just like hand control and Steel. Like, those are really the only decks that really come out of this. Hand control with the Steel engine or the Amber engine, or maybe some other engine if you wanted to. I think we have the beginnings of a self-burn deck that can self-burn ourselves, burn our cards out of our hand to win the game. Constantly having this up or multiples of these up, always keeping that threatening nature of, oh, I can just simply tap, win, tap, win. Again, I think you would want to play it in the Amethyst engine so you can draw more cards, so you can constantly always filter your deck. But yeah, we have a couple of cards here that are starting, we can start to see where we're wanting to buff up our characters' power so they can gain more lore. Yeah, overall it's just discard turbos, bounce a couple of guys, self-burn, a whole bunch of evasives. Woo, man, there's a whole lot of evasive in here. And like turbo power cards. So yeah. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on all the Emerald cards. Do you think Emerald's the most power creeped color? I really think it's between like Emerald and Sapphire. We'll talk Sapphire in episode 5 of this series, because Sapphire has a very interesting draw engine now. And it's a very easy loopable draw engine. And it's very cool. We'll have to discuss that when we come to it, but very cool draw engine that Sapphire now has. But let me know down in the comments that, and let me know in the comments your thoughts over all of Emerald. Do you think it's too much hand control? Do you think Emerald's playing way too control style? Do you like control style? Do you like what we got for control styles? What's your thoughts on all of the Emerald cards? Let me know your thoughts on like a self-burn deck, as we see with the Queen. But while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you can notify when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Mama Dragon's TCG.